Hello everyone, my name is Joe Archino, and welcome back to This Is Why We Stand. You are about to listen to the highlights from my interview with David Scott, who served in the British Army with the 16th Parachute Brigade in the Royal Signal Squadron. I had the honor of meeting David at the 2018 Bastogne Banquet at the Thayer Hotel on the grounds of West Point, and I can't thank him enough for his service and for sharing his knowledge with me.
I was born in Dover in England in 1932. We then moved to Canterbury during the war, and I was, 12, 13-year-old when the invasion of Arnhem took place, and I used to watch the aircraft flying over the house, not realising that in the end I probably was going to join and be a parachutist. I went through grammar school, left grammar school, joined an advertising agency, finished that, and then we have to, in the UK at that time, everybody had to do 2 years national service. So I got signed up into the army, trained as a wireless operator, then decided I'd like to join the airborne, mainly because it doubled my salary.
That's a good way, that's a good decision, huh?
Well, we were paid in the army at that stage, it was 1951. We were paid the equivalent of 20 cents a day, your money, and by taking an airborne course and learning how to parachute, I doubled my salary to 40 cents.
Smart man.
So it was a big deal. I did the course, went out to Egypt and stayed in Egypt for about 18 months during the Suez crisis. Came back to England, and then you have to spend, after you've done your 2 years obligatory national service, you then do 4 years on the reserve. So I did 4 years in the reserve and the 10th Parachute Battalion. And after that, went back to my advertising career and started building my career as an advertising and a marketing man. And it wasn't, I then forgot everything about the army. I had no connection with the army from 1957 until 2005. And I was on the internet. I just thought, I wonder if there's anybody out there that I knew in Egypt in 1952, 55. So I put the message out, is anybody out there from 16 Para Brigade? And the emails started flooding in. And one of the guys that was talking to me on the internet was, he said, there's two guys that are living in Bolton, where I was living at the time, Joe Livesey and Spud Taylor. See if you can find them. So I put a letter into the local evening newspaper. I said, I'm looking for Joe Livesey and Spud Taylor. Where are they? They were served with me in Egypt in 1955. So the telephone then started ringing, and I met up with the guys that I'd seen, what was it, nearly 50 years before. And immediately I met them, I recognised them. And after that, I ended up as being secretary of the Parachute Regiment Association in Bolton, which then got me reconnected with the para fraternity. Consequently, Richard Neal, who I think you've already spoken to, was coming over to New York to spend a 4-day trip. And I was a bit worried he'd fall over and hurt himself. So I contacted the 101st President, George, and said, can he talk to somebody when he's over here? So he said, yeah, sure, get him to ring this telephone number, which Richard did. And George and Dave Limwell picked him up, took him to the Empire State Building, took him onto the destroyer, took him to the submarine, and really looked after him well. And at the same time, George then made both Richard and I life members of the 101st and invited us to the Bastogne Banquet this December 2015. And this is now the 4th time we've come to West Point, to the Bastogne Banquet. I think that there is an airborne fraternity. We go to Arnhem and we go to Normandy and we come to America. And if you meet an airborne soldier, they're the same everywhere. They can be German, they can be Dutch, they can be Polish, and all American, of course. But they've all got the same, feeling about. And if you meet anybody when you're wearing the para wings of an airborne flash, you've got somebody that you can talk to and relate to. And this is the same that the Americans relate to us and we relate to the Americans.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's the difficulty of the job? Or that you guys can
it's
connect
the
over
fact
that?
that you've parachuted, you've leapt out of an aircraft and you believe that the chute's going to open and it does, and so you're still here. But it's a I don't know, it's a fraternity of people of like minds. So they just know that they're, similar people. And no matter where you are in the world, if you bump into them and they've got to show a pair of wings, you're a friend of theirs. And if they were in trouble, you'd help them out.
Thank you for listening to this interview. For thisiswhywestand.net, I'm Joe Archino.